Hey, what's up, guys? I had somebody asking me how to load a data grid. Well, actually, two questions was how to load it with basically how to load a bunch of data in the data grid instead of manually like I was doing it. And the other one was how to basically, I think he was asking how to like customize stuff coming in. Could be wrong. Uh, so I'm just going to build the data grid like I did on the last video here. So I'm going to just pull a data grid in. Actually, I'm going to just copy the data grid I had from the last program. Actually, you know what? Sorry. I'll just do this. I will close this and use this data grid that I was using in the first place. Alright. So, you'll see okay, so this one is just like the last video I made, except the only thing I did was I changed the bindings to be first letter capitalized. I think this is called camel case. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the standard that Microsoft uses, I think. So I was just trying to be more efficient. So if you are going off the last video I had, all you have to do is change these to have capital E's right here in your bindings on your XAML, and then you need to change those same variables to have capitals right here in your employee class, and then change those here in your clicked event if you care. You don't have to change it in your clicked event. So somebody was asking me how you can load data, large data. He said, do you do that with a for loop? And the answer is yes and no. It just depends how you want to do it. Usually you're going to do this with a query to a database, but you could do this with XML. Because I don't want to open a connection to a database and do all that jazz, I'm just going to fill with some random crap data. So what I'm going to do is, so this for loop is going to act as kind of like data from a database. So I'm just going to do for, just generate some fake data here. Oh, I'll generate, he said large data, so I'll do 100 records. And that's really not large at all, but just for the sake of explanation, that seems large to humans, I guess. Okay, so what we can do here is, so basically if you're doing this loop, all you have to do is reference the data grid, which is DataGrid XAML, and you're going to do items, and you're going to add, and you know, whatever you're retrieving here, I'm not retrieving anything, I'm making stuff up, but normally, again, you would be querying a database or reading from a file, and you would just add that here in the parentheses after you instantiated a new object of type employee. So what you would have is you would have to first add a new employee object. So new employee, and the syntax is so ugly, but some people like to just put it all in one line, or they like to do 2 lines. I started in C++ when I first learned how to program, and there was no IntelliSense to correct your indentation, so it drives me crazy. So here's how I do it. So it looks like confusing syntax, but just remember that here's where you're instantiating the object, new employee. Here's its brackets, and this parenthesis, it goes to this add method. Starts here, ends here. And then inside here, you're going to assign the properties of the object you want to add. So normally, you would have employee ID, and it would equal, like some database thing, like, I don't know, it would say like, like data reader, well, it would say like data reader employee ID, and this is from, I don't know, employee table or something like that. It's just so people know that that's what I'm doing is just to fill it in with crap data. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say the employee ID is equal to this I counter. Now notice, you don't put semicolons here when you're adding a new object. You put commas. I always used to make that mistake, and I was like, what is going on? You put commas after you assign each property, you see. So I'm going to say employee name. So I want each employee name to be different. So I'm going to say employee name equals Donald Trump. So what it'll be Donald Trump 1, ID 1, Donald Trump 2, employee ID 2, Donald Trump 3, employee ID 3, so on and so forth. Just so we have data that doesn't look exactly the same, but it will look kind of the same. Of course, I could do a random function and make this look way better, but I'm just rushing through this real quick. So employee address, I'm just going to say some address, and then employee city, of course, you guessed it, some city, and employee state, I don't know, some state, we don't care. So yeah, so now when we run this program, it's going to populate 100 records of this information. So this is how you would, how you would fill data grids with large amounts of data. Again, I know 100 records is not large, so just bear with me. It's all the concept. So yeah, you'll see here we have Donald Trump 0, Donald Trump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 99. We could make Jimmy, we can make 100 Jimmy Neutron from Las Vegas, or actually let's do this, from Houston, Texas. And there he is, Jimmy Neutron. So yeah, remember this was just a little crappy way I wrote this to add new employee on the last video. Now one person was asking how you would, I think he said if you have from a database Mon, and you wanted to fill it with Monday. So for example, what we could do is we could do this. We could say okay, so we can do this. We can make a, just for the purpose of an example, I can make a list. Oh, I need using generic. Got to put this usings in so that you can use list. And we'll make a list of strings, and we will call this list or we'll call it days of the week. Okay. Now, what I will do is I'll say, okay, days of the week equals Monday. twos. Can you do it this way? Wasn't sure. Okay. Guess you can't. Sorry about that. All right. So I'm gonna add some days here. Right. Okay. So I'll add Thur, Fry, Mun, Sat, Sun. All right. So what we can do here is we can add these records, and for the name, actually, you know what, we'll add a new property, and we'll call it day of the week. Oh, also, you can do this. You can do prop and then do tab, and it'll auto generate for you. Day of the week. Alright, and what we can do is we can say if, we'll do another loop. This is horrible, by the way. Never do this, but this is just for the purpose of, oh, you know what? What am I thinking? I'm sorry. I'm going to do this. String day equal mod. And you know, this is we can say if day dot equals mod. Well, we'll do this. If day, oh gosh, horrible. Sorry about this, guys. Fix this for you. Okay. If day equals month, then we'll say day equals Monday. Okay. So if the day equals month, then day equals Monday, and then we'll set that day here equal to whatever day should go there. We'll say, you know, else day equals unknown. Whoa, creepy. Okay. So this is just for the purpose of, you know, building dynamically things in the data grid, in the rows and not the headers like someone was asking. I hope this answers their question. It may not still, but hey, if it doesn't, they'll leave another comment. So now we add this property here, day of the week. So I did a Control C, I copied it, because I also can't forget that I have to add this property in my data grid as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this because I'm lazy, and I'm going to say this is the, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, I'm sorry. Instead, I'm going to do this. Control Z out of this. Sorry, I'm struggling today. Okay. Instead, I'm going to copy this one, put this here, and do this, and stretch. Wow, I'm failing so hard. Okay. Stretch this, and this, and I'm going to just stretch it one more. Okay. Now, stretch that even more. Alright, so now I have employee state. So here, I'm going to have day of the week. Okay? And see, it didn't even need to be that long. Alright, so now that I have day of the week, sorry, right there, I need to first fix this. I screwed up. That should be E. And I'm going to call this day of the week, because this binding has to match the variable that we made for it, because we're binding it there. Don't forget that. Alright. Now, go here and we'll see it should fill in Monday if the day equals Monday. And what I'll do also to get this to turn on is I'll say, ignore that, I'll say if I to 0 day equals day equals mod. So if it is a even number, then that ID will have Monday, and if it's not, then it will have unknown. So let's try it. Alright, and you see that the even numbers have Monday, ignore the 0, and the odd numbers have unknown. So it's kind of a way to get dynamic data in, to get large data in, and I realize you would be doing that, of course, on a with a database or with XAML or reading from a file. I hope this helped, and that's it.